Just trick. Harry Potter. Yeah. You remember that? Harry Potter. They need to just get crazy. I'm like, what? Oh, it was motorcycle. Oh, yeah, well,
It's true.
all right, good evening. Welcome to everyone for our regularly scheduled board meeting tonight, June 25th, 2025. We'll go ahead and get started by setting the agenda. I do need to make one small change before the board motions to approve the agenda, and that is we will not have a report from Dawn Walker tonight for long-term care, skilled nursing. She is out sending off her eldest. So wish her the best, and we'll just bypass her for this evening. So are there any other suggested changes or corrections that we need to make? Greg, Lindsay, we good? Anyone on the board? Okay. That being said, I would ask for a motion to set the agenda and we'll move forward. I would make a motion to set the agenda. Thank you, Taylor. Pardon? I was just thinking, I need to excuse Taylor. She's on Zoom tonight, I believe, but she's not present with us. Thank you, Ashley.
On that note, I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. We have a motion and a second by Taylor. Sorry for my misspeak there. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor, please signify so. Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Was that an oppose or an aye? That was an aye, right?
It was an aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. All right, we will dive into business tonight. The first item of business is consent agenda approval of policies and job descriptions, of which there are 5 that you've been provided. So I will open this up to the board to either make a motion, or if you have questions, we can ask questions about those job descriptions that have been provided and policies. This will include the personnel files policy, scope of services, human resources policy, patient access admission supervisor job description, hospitalist job description, and case manager utilization review / discharge plan job description.
I just have one question on 1 and 3, admission supervisor and case manager. Are those already filled, or are we looking to fill them?
New position.
Those are ones we can fill.
Anyone have any other questions? Okay. Where's open?
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Linda.
I'll second.
Thank you. A motion by Candace, second by Ashley. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Motion carries.
Madam
Next
Chair,
item.
did you get my eye?
No, I did not. I was kind of wondering. I had a quorum, so I wasn't worried, but you want me to record an aye for you as well?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Taylor. Did you get that, Jan? Okay. All right, we have the meeting minutes that need approved from May 28th, June 4th, June 6th, June 11th, and accompanying executive session minutes that were provided by Kenda. Anyone have any questions about those?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Taylor?
on May 28th, the vote for the May pay app being signed, that vote needs to be amended for my extension to be noted.
May 28th. Okay. Jan, would you be able to amend those minutes to reflect that? Yep.
Madam Chair,
I see. Yes, Taylor?
also have another question. On the June 11th meeting, the terms that were outlined by Lena in the meeting minutes, were those reviewed by Lena prior to going in the meeting minutes?
Lena doesn't typically see the minutes before we do, no.
Okay, I just wanted to know if that was the case, just to ensure accuracy on those terms outlined in the meeting minutes for future review. So if we ever had to recall on the meeting minutes, that they're accurately reflected in the meeting minutes.
Okay, we can ensure that they match the agreement.
Perfect, thank you.
When it's provided. Thank you. Jan, that's on page, I don't know.
Yes,
No, I'm on minutes.
it does say, I think, subject to the terms, like the lawyers, coming to agreement with terms, but yeah, you can look at them and see. Yeah,
The other one is on section 6.
yeah, I have it right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would like to move to approve those minutes as amended.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from May 28th, June 4th, June 6th, June 11th, as well as the executive session minutes with the amendments as noted by Taylor.
Thank you, Ashley. Got a motion on.
I'll second.
Kenda, you have a motion on a second. Are there any other points for discussion? Okay, I'll ask for a vote then. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. So I'll open the floor up for anyone who wishes to make public comment. I see so many faces here this evening. Anyone want to speak? Anyone on Zoom have comments to make? Okay, I'll take that as a no and we'll carry on. Next item of business on our agenda is committee reports, and up first is building. So I'll turn the time over to Damon. Present his.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be back here. Great. Well, good evening. Agenda for tonight. So pretty standard agenda for tonight. We'll start with project monthly update, construction status with Layton design status with EPA, the current snapshot of the budget and PCOs. And one thing I don't have on here that if it's okay to end with tonight is one of Layton's subcontractors provided us today with a bunch of drone photos of the site. So I'll run through those if you guys would like to see those. So they're pretty cool. And they're really recent. I think they're from today, this morning. Okay, we'll jump in. Forgot about the little bit of delay here. Okay, so highlights, a lot happened over the last month. Department of Health, they did do their final inspection. They signed off on their letter that the project be transferred from construction to licensure. So that's huge. Congratulations to everyone. That's an awesome thing. But in the meantime, everything else going on was still going through. The architect did their punch list, and we are still wrapping up some small items on that need to be done. There are a couple items that will need to be done over the next couple of weeks that were long lead items to get that material in to complete. So the contractor will be doing some ICRA protection on those areas to get that done. And then also medical equipment punch list and furniture punch list for the critical access hospital side has happened also. We have a few things to wrap up there with some certifications and things like that that'll be done over the next couple of weeks as well. In the long-term care side, construction is just wrapping up. Substantial completion is later this week. EPA is on site right now, performing punch list on that side of the building. So that'll come to a point where they moves from construction now to addressing the punch list items. And then over the next month, we have the big one for owner vendors will be the furniture side of things. So that'll occur, I think, starting the week after 4th of July. I don't have exact dates with me. And then wrap up, I think July 26th is the final day that they'll be done to punch list everything on the furniture and all that too. So it might be the 20th, but it's in the report. So yeah, it'll still be busy, but the busy side will move over to long-term care. So as far as highlight on budget change orders, so project budget sits at just over to 80 million this month, and owner contingency right now is at 509,893. We are continuing to go through RFIs, but I'll say those have diminished significantly. We had our OAC meeting today. There was one RFI on the list, so that's great. We're getting to that point. So there'll probably be a couple on the LTC side as the punch list gets wrapped up over there. Contractor may have some questions on that. They'll submit some RFIs on as well. And then we are wrapping up, continue to wrap up PCOs and COs. A lot of those are still for, some of them are catch up, some of them are being generated from some punch list items, and a little bit owner requested stuff too. So we'll go through that in more detail later. Delays at this time, we're not tracking any delays right now, but we do have a couple of potential impacts. The big one is Department of Health. They were on site Tuesday. They did their final inspection, I guess, to create their list of items. They did have, it was a minor list compared to the hospital side, which is good. They did have one life safety item. It wasn't a surprise. We knew that, and Department of Health knew that it was going to be on the list when they came in. But it is being addressed. It is just a door rating issue that we're addressing. We do have to wait for some special people asked to come in for those doors to get that rating. That's really what the holdup is at this point. So Department of Health will have to come out one more time and just check off their list everything on their list is complete. And they did the exact same thing in the hospital side too. So, and then PCOs and COs, impacts on those, obviously financial impacts as those come in, we go through those and we vet those or they're approved. Any questions on monthly report before we get into the construction side of things? Don was with us tonight, so I'll hand it over to him.
Tom.
Hello. Sorry, Nathan couldn't make it yet. So we're kind of working through the DOH comments that we received yesterday. Just kind of going through all that stuff. Again, it was very minor. I think there were 6 items. So we're just addressing those. We already used a lot of them because we had to kind of do a preliminary walk for this a couple weeks ago. So currently right now on site, they are dropping ceiling tile because we have to leave the ceiling tile on the corridors for Pat. So we're dropping all the tile and then we're going to do our final cleaning, working on punch lists and long-term care, finishing up punch list items in the hospital side. So we're just kind of wrapping up the exterior, the playgrounds in, the mats was poured this morning, so that's in. They're pretty much wrapping up the landscape around the outside of the building. Memory care garden, a lot of the shrubs and stuff are starting to go in. They were kind of working their way around the front of the hospital, and they're going to go finish up towards the back. So plant trees, you'll see from the drone footage, you'll see some trees and stuff that planted, but the front entrance is looking finished. So, and then when you guys are ready, we're going to start. For the next couple of days, we'll probably paint the helipad and have that opened up for the hospital to start using it. Those are the kind of items that are going on.
The DPA and design status.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah Willier with Davis Partnership. I know you usually see John, who is on vacation right now, and then Anne is not able to make it today. So you've got me representing Davis Partnership. I think Sean and Damon have both addressed everything that we're doing design-wise, which is our primary focus has been doing the punch list. As noted, we are complete with the punch list for the critical access hospital. We completed the exterior envelope punch list today, and 2/3 of the LTC punch list was completed today. We'll wrap up the rest of that tomorrow. So that will give Layton the initial punch list for them to be cleaning up any of these final items. Back punch, that will be when we confirm that all of the items have been addressed that were on the punch list. We don't have dates set for those exactly, but we're looking at mid-July for critical access hospital to confirm those items have been picked up. Otherwise, as David noted, there's one open RFI that we're working with Layton on that one to get that wrapped up and addressing any of the items that were brought up by Department of Health, which are rather major.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. It's nice to have you here. Nice to be here.
Okay, we'll move on to budget update. As I talked about in the monthly report, budget is just over 80 million, so that did go up. There were some things on the USDA form SF 271 that were recognized finally that we knew were kind of out there. If I just want to make sure I'm not misleading you to think that there's just extra budget. Those revenue sources that were finally recognized were already offset by cost. So we're not only recognizing the budget or the revenue source, but we're also recognizing the costs that were associated with those. So it's kind of like a zero sum game. It just, the numbers are now showing where they're at. So, on contingency did go down a little bit. We are down just to 509, so not a big drop. We'll talk about the PCOs that got approved over last month. Anticipated usage, we do have a few out there for 15,000. We just had a review yesterday afternoon. It might be Monday afternoon. It was after this was submitted, and we did review a few more. So those are not recognized on here, but they will show up for next month. So after you take that out of the 509, it puts the contingency at 494,000. Committed costs, we went up just a little bit to 78 million. And then project spent to date had a pretty good jump on that. There's a few reasons for that. Some of it is that recognizing some of that revenue we talked about, and we also recognize those costs. Of course, Layton is always the biggest portion of that. A lot of vendors with medical equipment, those costs came in as well. So there was a pretty good jump. That's the largest one since I've been on the project that we've seen. So might see one more of those for next month, but then it should come down as we go to close out. And then construction contingency went up to 192. There was some allowance reconciliation on Layton's GMP, and the placeholder for some of that we need to contingency to address some of these items as we go into closeout. So, any questions on that part before we get into PCOs? These are the construction contingency PCO. Sorry if they're so small. There was quite a few of them that we had to go through. You'll see that there's a big one down there on PCO 233. That was the credit for Layton had been carrying that in their GMP. That was actually owner purchased equipment. So they gave us the credit back to that. And that, again, that's part of that zero sum where that money's already been spent to purchase the HVAC equipment, but it was USDA recommendation to hold some of that towards the end of the project as it sat in the GMP. So we're just getting things cleaned up now as the project's wrapping up. And then just a couple owner change orders out there over the last month. So. All right, that's all I have for budget, and we can stop sharing screen here and you can look at some cool stuff. Maybe if I can get it on my end. That's okay. So it's not a live drone footage like a fly around, but they're photos. So I'll just kind of scroll through the photos and I'll just show you some progress around the site. Oh, there's my arrow. More directly above, gives you a good idea with the clinic at the top of the picture there. So all the darker brown areas right around the building proper, that's all the landscaping. So shrubs and trees, everything going in, sprinkler systems are on, they've been running those. So and then hydroseed will go in. I think they were trying to get it in this weekend. I think it's all bit weather dependent on that as well. And so all the asphalt's been resealed, so that's why it's nice and dark and black again, restriped, and you got the different entrances. You got the long-term care entrance, the ambulance entrance, and then the main entrance on the south side. Here, I wanted to point out too, as I'm of my mouse will show on the screen. Yeah, it's just. Okay, where my cursor sitting, that's the memory care courtyard. So that fence has gone in there. You can see a little bit of a walking path on that as well. Up in this corner courtyard, play equipment's in, and the rubber surface around that for fall protection is installed. I know these are zoomed out a little ways, but so here you can see more display to there. There in the courtyard. Really coming together and look like a finished product when you pull it in. It's pretty exciting. There's the memory care courtyard. That zoomed out shot of the front entry, the front side of the hospital looking, this is looking east. This is a lot of close up of the memory care main entry, the loop there on the left, and then the canopy just right of that. On the other side of that canopy, that's the ambulance entry.
It looks strange without the Layton trailer there.
You thought that was permanent?
No, it just seems so fair now.
It was permanent.
It was there for so long.
A little more close up of the helipad there. Sean was talking about striping. And this was a little more of a close up of the main entry with the parking, all the striping done now. The temporary heliport is not there now. And
Yeah, that parking lot got big.
for extension, I think it's every day. But I just shared some of those with you. I thought they were pretty cool when we went through them today. So
Yeah.
any questions that I can ask for you at all on the project? Or not ask for you, answer for you, sorry.
Thank you, Damon.
Thank you.
Exciting to see the progress. Home stretch. So you took part in that report tonight. All right, next item on the agenda is foundation. Terry or Sid, are you giving the report this evening?
Yes,
We're happy to have you.
thank you. Terry's son is at his final soccer game, and he's the primary goal scorer for their team. So I told her I would be there, but she mixed that. So just to get some highlights here, I think the big one for a lot of us is the donor walls installed. Y'all haven't seen it yet. It is beautiful. That David Bell photograph, and those guys from Wyoming Science did a beautiful job. So get a chance, stop by and see it. And then a lot of other stuff, it's in your report, it's moving forward rapidly. And then we get down to a couple action items that we'd like to go over with you. We have a request from BJ Mary, the director of EMS, to purchase some ventilators, 4 of them. And we had $37,400 donated from Irving, Williams, and Champion. And BJ was able to save almost $21,000 from the ambulance purchase. So, he was under budget on that. And the foundation would like to commit an additional $15,677 to fund the 4 ventilators. And our foundation board approved it yesterday. So we need to know if it's okay with you guys.
To approve that. action on behalf of our board? Or do you have questions, more questions about it?
I'm good. Guys.
So champion, did you say champion?
Yes, it was
Ended up-
Urban Williams and Champion.
Was that a last minute
Don't know that.
donation? That was.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
There were two that were like larger and then one. small. So I think two committed to like a full cost of one commitment.
I see.
And then the ambulance came in 20,000 under budget, so there was already grant funds and then money that had already been committed by the foundation. Make up the rest. And so then in order to get 4, they're short this 15. And with 4, I believe that would be 1 on each ambulance. That's active, 3, and then 1 in the ER. Is that right?
Right.
And I understand the ones you have are not great.
correct.
Or do you get parts? Old technology.
Okay, thanks for the information.
What was that number? Just the 15,000 what?
15,677. Foundation shipment.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve that? Just for the foundation.
Madam Chair, I would move to make it, or I would make a motion of support. I guess that's all.
Yeah.
That's all. A motion of support.
Okay. Wait a second. I'll second. Okay, any further questions or discussions? Taylor, any questions on your end?
No, ma'am.
Approval of the Purchase? Okay. All in favor, then please signify so.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. So we'd like to get a piano for the new Heritage Home. This actually started 2 years ago. It was you mentioned a fundraising for a new piano, and Leslie Hagenstein whipped out $100 and gave it to JJ Huntley and said, "Here, this is your first 100 towards the new piano." It's been sitting on JJ's dresser for 2 years, waiting to get the ball rolling. So we would just spend about $40,000, but we've got a donation that we're working on with a family that may donate a grand piano. It'll come in much less than what the piano is worth. And so we just need to get the blessing from the board to continue with the fundraising and get the grand piano in the Heritage Home. It's going to cost the hospital nothing.
And this was something that the foundation board
Yes,
in support of.
yes, we're ready to go.
Sorry, I missed that meeting on Monday, so I'm a little behind.
That's okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd make another motion of support. Yeah. I mean, guys,
Yeah.
music belongs in that place.
I don't even think we need a formal motion for that one, since it's not an approval of the purchase.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah. So
Unless anyone has any concerns, Taylor, anyone else on the board have concerns about that?
No, ma'am, I'm good.
I think they were just wanting to make sure that, you know, since the board is supposed to direct what the foundation is working on, and we were in support.
Sounds like it's already been done, so.
And just a quick, this is almost a side note at the moment, but we're working on flagpoles. And I've talked to Greg about it and talked to fellow tractors and talked to the American Legion. So between everybody, we think we've got the money and we think we've got a plan, but it's a partial plan. But we're going to reuse the existing flagpoles, we think, and save the money on buying flagpoles. So we haven't looked at them, but typically they're installed with a culvert, and then the flagpole is stood in there and packed sand around it so it can give a little bit in the wind. So we think we can just extract those flagpoles, and they only weigh, the big one only weighs about 250 pounds. And we got Lance Biffle said he'd help. We got all kinds of help, but primarily now we've got to get with Layton and figure out where power is so we can illuminate it. But we saw some areas that looks like power's already there. We just have to know if we can dig it up and put a flagpole there also.
Where did we decide the location?
Well, we didn't decide exactly.
There's a couple spots we identified in front of the Heritage Home in that area, in between the Heritage Home and the hospital, which I'm wondering, seem like they should have power, we think.
We think, if not, they need to be fixed because there's lights there. So something's gonna change.
Right now.
Yeah, so we'll keep you updated on that. Ann Noble is finishing historical displays for 3 midwives, Clemson, Bayer, Card, 4 doctors, Montrose, Klosh, Johnston, and Burnett. I think you've met Dr. Burnett. Okay. They're gonna be about 2 feet by 3 feet, poster size, and we'll have a photo and a biography of each person. The foundation has approved spending up to $2,000 to get those produced. Carrie thought she could do it for less than 2. We gave her a cushion. So we just need to approve it so that we could hang them in the dining area of the hospital. So the board needs to say, yes, get them produced. Let's get them hung up. Unless you want to pull Dr. Burnett's temporarily.
Fantastic.
All right.
Not to pull Dr. Burnett's, but.
Okay, so then we'll plan on doing that. Again, it's no cost. All right. Anybody got any questions on what we're up to? All right, that's a wrap. You've got the rest of it in your package.
Thank you, Sid.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for all the good work. All right, next item on the agenda is leadership reports, and Mr. Rickner has finance report first.
Good evening again. Revenue for the month was 1.45 million versus a plan of 1.5 million. We're starting to see revenue normalize again, now as our AR issues are being resolved. That brings year-to-date revenue to 14.1 million versus a $16.8 million plan. Expenses for May was 1.8 million versus a $2.2 million plan. And then 13.8 million year-to-date versus a 23.8 million plan. Operating income is a loss of 2.1 million in May, and that brings us to 13.8 million loss year-to-date. Net income is just a slight loss of $1,500 in May. You can almost call that break even. And then a surplus of 14.4 million year-to-date. We continue to work through our payer contracting and credentialing. We did receive confirmation from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Wyoming that we will be in network on August 4th when we go to the hospital. That's a big deal. Tonight on the agenda, we have the approval of the line of credit from the Bank of Jackson Hole. It is really, really important that we recognize this as a lifeline and not a windfall. The line of credit balance must be repaid in the fiscal year. We need to think of this as a credit card and remain intensely frugal. And I'm entertaining these questions. CFO.
Questions? Taylor, any questions for Greg regarding finance report?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Greg. Operations.
Hi there, I'd like to ask Susie and Holly to come up. They're so nervous. I told you guys are super scared. Good evening, board. Just a few things. You've got your packet in front of you, but I did want to spotlight all the hard work we've been doing. I'm so proud of the team. I think looking at those photos that Damon had, that's not what it just got me choked up just now, but it was very nostalgic of how far we've come. Quite okay, maybe I teared up a little bit, so a little lower quiver. I do want to spotlight regarding EMS. I know that BJ put this in his report, but I'm just so friggin' proud of him. He got the Chief EMS Officer designation. This is by the commission on profession credentialing. It's a part of the Center for Public Safety Excellence. There's only 228 that are worldwide, and he's the only one, the first one to achieve it in Wyoming and the only one. So we're just thrilled. He does so much for the organization, and he just keeps pursuing and pursuing more things that we can do, challenges us as leaders. I also want to spotlight Anita Cheney and Steven Sanders. They both became paramedics, and we're just thrilled. I've watched those two go through that process and really admired them and all that they've done. You know, they've got the family life. We work their tails off, ask a lot out of them, and then when they have nothing else to do, they also are pursuing their paramedic license. So kudos to them. We had the Sublette County Sheriff's Office show up June 19th. They did our initial safety security assessment. They'll do a couple more of those. They'll also do active shooter training. We're very thankful to them. They've done active shooter training for us before. It was very informative. I now know how to break down my window in my office and save lives. July 10th, we have our emergency preparedness tabletop. BJ, Mary, Tyler Bell, Kimberly Urban have been working really hard on that. It is a tremendous amount of work. And you also have to retain all of that information amongst everything else they're doing. So we're very excited to learn from them. And then pretty much everything else that we're working on is getting ready for survey. Doing a lot of pop quizzes, scaring the staff. What would you do? And they've been really resilient. The staff is really studying those questions so that they know the answers and making sure that they feel as comfortable as possible, and then we throw chocolate at them. We're also working July 16th. We planned for 3 or 4 hours in the morning. I'm really gonna need these guys to help, but this is where we're doing all workflows. And so you get a patient that starts at the rig, goes into the ER, or goes into urgent care, or comes through the front desk, not from a rig, but all these different angles that the patients come through the hospital. What do we do? What are our workflows? And then it's not required to formalize those workflows, but we want to make sure that we definitely write them down. We're being responsible and good stewards of those practices, and building out those continuity plans that I always talk about with, we call it Operation Trample by Moose, but it is the continuity plan to build that out. So we just have a strong organization. And then of course, just moving in. So it's been really exciting to literally move our offices in. I have to wait because I'm on the long-term care side, but it's so exciting. And it's just, we've come so far. We all know that. And to be able to physically move chairs and reams of paper and figure out how the Wi-Fi works, I haven't figured that out yet. I do want to introduce the two wonderful ladies behind me. These are our new hires that I've talked about ad nauseum. We have Susie Hopkins, our director of pharmacy. She's a pharmacist from Cardinal Health. We stole her. I love her. She's so smart. And then also Polly Hansen, who is our nutrition services director. And she's just been such a breath of fresh air. Her knowledge in the kitchen, I just have to bat my eyes a lot because she just knows where things go. She's got a lot on her plate and she's just picking it up and just going full steam ahead. So I wanted to have them give you an update. Okay.
I just want to say I'm really, really grateful to be here. I can't give Tara, but I've worked in several hospitals, and it's my experience, just to let you all know, as a newcomer coming into this situation, has just been amazing. The culture is excellent. The organization is way beyond what I was expecting. And so I'm just happy to be here, and I'm grateful they gave me a chance to do it. So we are just working on trying to we got our pharmacy license. We actually have 2 licenses, institutional and retail. The reason for that is if we are going to take care of the Heritage Home residents, we have to have a retail license. The institutional license will be for the hospital. We have 2 IV rooms. We're getting those certified, hopefully, July 8th. And then we just applied for our DEA license because we got our provisional hospital license yesterday. Once we get our DEA license, we'll get our wholesale account set up, and then I'll start ordering drugs, which I'm excited about. Right now, my pharmacy's empty. So as soon as we get that done, then we can start working on getting things set up, getting the automated dispensing cabinets stocked, and starting to get ready for patients. I'm super excited. Any questions for me or any, do you want me to give us one?
Well, we'll
Okay.
I'll look at you to say, help me.
I have noticed on the construction side of things, Susie, I have seen you jump in and hit the ground running. And it's been really nice to see you just handling things on the pharmacy side. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's much appreciated. Certifications and things, but
Yeah.
somewhat difficult. So thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you, Susie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all.
I'm also very grateful for this opportunity to work for you guys. And just a couple of things. The kitchen is beautiful. Lindsay knew what she was doing when she had me come up and show her it, because I was like, oh, all brand new, which also comes with the other side of it, that it's all brand new. So we're trying to figure out some kinks on a few of the machines, but we're gonna get through that. And Layton Construction has been amazing to help, and Tyler has been amazing to come in, and we're gonna work through those. And I'm excited to get ready to cook in it. Also, we have the Volante system, which is our POS system, and we're on like the final stages of putting all that in so that we can do a training on that. And I really just look forward to having Vicki and the staff come up and we can all just be in the same place and cook together and figure it all out together.
Happy to have you, Holly.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
Anybody? Kind of a big job.
It is, yep. It's
We
not
didn't
just
tell her.
cookies, no. Lizzie didn't tell me that part, but.
I have no doubt that you're up to the
And I've
job.
never opened a kitchen from the beginning, but we're getting through it. We'll get through it. Yeah, so,
We're happy to have
thank you.
you.
I'm very happy to have those two, and I echo your sentiments about just the knowledge from both of them. It's been a relief. I learned so much from those two. And I can't wait. I promised her, just help me with this administrative stuff, and then I promise you can go in there and just go cook for us. So we're very excited. And I just thought that we have, with ARC and Apogee, we actually will be running, we'll be cooking for them. So we'll be starting small and doing gradual stair step. And then when Vicki and her team come up, it's just kind of a staged opening. So the long-term care, again, they come up on the 26th, and I know that there's some hesitancy or some nerves, but they're just killing it. And I'm so thankful for our team. So any questions for me?
I'm grateful for the effort on everyone's parts. Just seems like a win right now.
Yeah. They're capable and we're doing great. So, thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Okay, Dr. Burnett. Fire rate.
Well, good evening. How's everybody? We have been quite busy with credentialing and doing a privileging form, which you'll get to look at later tonight. A couple of things I'd like to say. I don't know how many of you have met Noah. I don't know if Noah's, Noah Chucks, who's one of our business local providers in the ED, and Ryan, of course, everybody, y'all all know Dr. Hasty. These guys do an incredible job and incredibly talented, and I just like to recognize the hard work that they do with under duress and limited resources. So just want to let you know that. In addition, I certainly would like to recognize Kaylin Wolter in terms of our credentialing investment. They've done an outstanding job trying to keep up with the numerous applications that we have and trying to get everybody on board ready for credentialing. It's an enormous process. We're not there yet, but she's worked very well trying to keep Apogee and Hardtail feet to the fire. We also have to do credentialing for not only the radiologists, but all the people that do the stat reads, which is kind of a challenge, I think, with Dr. Hasty. We've been brainstorming on how to work that out. Dr. Hasty himself has done an incredible job taking the lead in terms of the privileging for working with HealthTech and basically, I don't want to say reinvent the wheel, but going back and start the process over, working through that. Ryan as well as part of the MAC and Dr. Ader, both with MAC and Credentialing, have done a tremendous amount of work to get that privileging request to you tonight. So all I've got to say is kudos to a great team that's put in a lot of hard work and long hours. And that's the summary of my report. But I'll stand for any questions you may have. We're getting there. It's been a lot of hard work, unnoticed behind the scenes. And these guys have certainly taken the lead and done their part in there. And I very much appreciate their efforts. So.
I would echo that. I mean, just the credentialing piece alone is huge, and just trying to prepare for all of this. I know everyone's going above and beyond. And
yeah, we've had some challenges. We've had to do some innovative workarounds to get things going for July 1st next week. And I think we've worked through that with both Greg and Layton's help in terms of how do we accommodate for the shortcomings we have. We can manage and get things done, but it's taken a lot of putting heads together and a lot of work to get it done. So once again, I appreciate these guys' efforts. Okay.
thanks for the report. Do you have any questions? Okay. Taylor, any questions on your end?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The next item on our agenda then is a health tech report. And I believe we have Cherie present.
Sherry.
Is it Sherry? Well, I've heard it both ways. So please,
That's
is
okay.
it Sherry?
Yes, it's
Dawn
Sherry.
said Cherie, so I didn't want to misrepresent your name.
So that's okay.
But
Don
welcome.
calls me that all the time and I just let him.
Okay, well, I'm going to call you Sherry.
Okay, sounds good.
Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, as she said, my name is Sherry Benander. I am the Director of Clinical Services for HealthTech. So the first thing that I wanted to mention tonight was just congrats on getting the hospital license. I know we were anxious to get that done and sounds good. I'm glad that that's happened. I wanted to mention a new hire at HealthTech, somebody that will become more visible to Sublette, and that is Margaret. I never say her last name right, but it's Bistrovich. She is our new VP of Revenue Cycle Services. She's actually been with HealthTech before, worked for us 10 years previously, so she's not exactly a new face. She's going to become more visible with Sublette and will be involved in working with Patrick. And then I have continued to work with leadership and clinical staff. We've been working on policies, just different processes, getting ready for the survey. I'll be on site the week of the 18th we'll kind of go through things, see if there's any last minute things that I can help with. I'll also be on site again for the opening on August 4th. I have recently enlisted 2 additional colleagues to help us out. One was Carolyn St. Charles. She's been working with Dr. Hasty as it relates to credentialing and privileging. And as mentioned in the last report, they have done a ton of work. So it's really looked good, the stuff that they've been working on together. Also, another colleague is Michael Jones. He will be starting to work with Kimberly on reviewing the Kimberly and Taylor on reviewing the life safety EOC policies and the emergency plan. He is a life safety specialist. So he'll be reviewing those policies remotely for us. Lastly, I wanted to mention HealthTech's annual conference, which is September 7th through 10th in Louisville, Kentucky. This conference is specific for board trustees, commissioners, CEOs, CFOs. It's really, really good board education. We have an incredible lineup of speakers, including Brian Mary. from your organization will be one of the speakers. We have about 100 people attending. We realize that your budget is really tight right now. However, the conference is free to our HealthTech clients. We also provide the hotel room. So really the only cost that you guys incur is airfare. So we're hoping that a few of the board members are able to attend that conference. Dom said that he would be providing the full agenda to Greg and Tanya tomorrow. Other than that, I would welcome any questions, but that is all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Sherry. Does anyone have questions for Sherry? Sounds like lots of good work going on behind the scenes.
Oh, everybody's been working really hard. So good job. Kudos to all the staff. They're all excited and working long hours and doing an awesome job.
Fantastic. All right, well, we appreciate your update tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we will move on now to the CEO report.
As I tell you every month, our EMR implementation status with Ocean is still yellow. I don't think they'll ever turn it green. It'll be like December and maybe they'll think about it. End user testing is almost complete and training is progressing. We're using the extra time just to validate and make sure that everything is ready for us to go live. Our clinical readiness continues to be my #1 area of concern, and Vicki continues to work with the team to alleviate my concerns. As Susie mentioned, we received our pharmacy licenses from the state of Wyoming. Our lab analyzer passed its quality validation testing. The physicist was here on site and signed off on the radiation shielding within our imaging department. As Lindsay mentioned, we began to move into the hospital and we're setting up each functional area. Since Dawn's not here, as they say in the South, I'll brag on her a little bit. The Sublette Center had its anticipated state survey, and they had only 3 deficiencies, which is still passing with an A, probably like an A+. And this survey then validates the great care that we know that our residents receive from our team. As has been mentioned, if you've driven Fremont, you probably noticed that the playground was installed for our new heritage home. And we are live in the national provider database. So that's a really big deal. The hospital passed its life safety inspection from the Wyoming Department of Health. This was our first really important inspection that validated that the building is acceptable to use as a hospital. Yesterday, we received our provisional license, hospital license from the state. And so now, for the very first time, there is a licensed hospital in Pinedale, Wyoming. Our next big milestone is receiving our license from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency. As I reported last month, we're staging as much as possible. So our hospital license was ready to go as soon as we had the life safety inspection. After receiving the hospital license, the DEA application was submitted last night. It's imperative that we continue this cadence of staging the entire way through this arduous process ahead. We've already started working on our conversion to critical access, so those filings are in place and can be completed as quickly as possible. Entertain any questions.
We've had reasons to celebrate. We should be celebrating some of this news. So many things ahead of us still, but I feel like we need to celebrate some of these news. Our licensure is a big deal. Anyone have any questions for Greg?
Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes, please, Lena.
I'm just so stinking proud of this team. This went through seamlessly because of how hard everyone worked and how well they worked together. So just kudos to Greg and Lindsay and everyone on this team. It was pretty incredible, and I'm just very, very proud of them. And it's a huge milestone.
Thank you, Lena.
Thanks, Lena. Yeah, we gotta celebrate, identify and celebrate these small wins. We've gone quite a long time without some wins, so. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for your work on that. Okay, next item of business, we are at old business, actually. First item on that part of our agenda is approval of payroll and bills. And we have several invoices over the $20,000 value that requires that approval as well. You should have those in your documents. So I would open the floor for a motion to approve unless anyone has any questions.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve payroll and bills for the month of May 2025 in the amount of $2,798,895.85.
Thank you, Kenneth. I have a motion on the table for the approval of payroll and bills.
Madam Chair, I'll second.
Thank you, Taylor. We have a second now. Is there any further discussion? I'll ask for a vote then. All in favor of the motion on the table to approve payroll and bills in the amount of $2,798,845.85, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That leaves us at the additional invoices. Fire board approval. Thanks, gentlemen.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the 5 invoices over $20,000 as presented.
Jameson, we have a motion on the table.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kenda. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns from the board? All in favor, please signify so.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is new business, and we have quite a bit here that we need to attend to. First item is the fiscal year 2026 budget resolution number 9-2025, and this is for the upcoming budget year. I'm sorry, what?
Current year, Madam Chair.
Current year, sorry, sorry. We approved the draft of this last month.
No.
Yeah, that was
The first item.
Oh, I do apologize. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
That was my bad.
I'm like, okay,
You
Thank
probably
you,
should
Jen.
have flip-flopped him on.
Well,
Sorry. I'm on the same page as you. My bad.
You need a gavel.
Okay, so yeah, we'll attend to the upcoming year, fiscal year 2026, since it's the first item and it is numbered as 9-2025. So this one's the one, if you'll remember, we did approve in a draft form last month. So we just need to finalize that approval. So we just need a motion for,
I would move to approve the resolution of intents number 9-2025.
thank you, Kenda. We have a motion on the table.
Madam Chair, I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. Motion by Kenda, second by Taylor. Are there any questions or concerns for discussion? And then I'll ask for a vote. All in favor of the motion on the table to approve fiscal year 2026 budget resolution number 9-2025, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is the current year budget amendment, and this is listed as resolution number 10-2025, and is also included in your documents. Greg, do you want to talk anything about this resolution coming from the Finance Committee? Want to make any comment?
It reconciles with where we are best guess for this fiscal year.
Any questions on this resolution from the board?
Madam Chair, I would move to approve fiscal year 2025 budget amendment resolution number 10-2025.
Okay, thank you, Kenda. We have a motion on the table.
I'll second.
We have a second by Ashley. Any further discussion from the group? All right, all in favor of the motion to approve budget amendment resolution 10-2025, please signify so.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is a new account resolution. And this is in regard to actions we've kind of been waiting to make for some time. Authorize the opening of new bank account at Bank of Jackson Hole. Yes.
I'd also point out that it also authorizes us to close the account at First Wyoming in time, as we're able to validate that we are done with that account, we will close it.
That was my next question. That's what I was one of my questions too. Okay.
Towards the bottom, if I recall correctly.
So will this be like pretty much all of the accounts?
All of our accounts will
This
be in
list.
Bank of Jackson Hole, except for the investments accounts that I have.
We have to go sign a bunch more stuff, don't we?
It's imperative that you do that as quickly as possible,
Yes.
Noted.
Are they ready?
Okay.
Is it all ready?
as soon as we send them done.
Okay.
We have a bunch of paperwork. Over the next 6 months. That's what, okay, I gotcha. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this? Okay.
I would make a motion to approve the new accounts at Bank of Jackson Hole, resolution number 11-2025.
Thank you, Ashley. We have a motion. Second. We have a motion by Kenda, or a second by Kenda, excuse me. Any further discussion? Okay, questions, Taylor? Why,
No,
I just
ma'am.
want to make sure you give you every opportunity tonight.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am,
I'll
I'm
ask for, okay, I'll ask for a vote then. All in favor of Resolution Jackson Hole Resolution 11-2025 regarding new accounts. Please signify by saying aye.
good. Aye.
Any opposed? Right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the Jackson Hole Medical Imaging Director contract that you've been provided with. Do you want to speak to this at all? Is this just for me?
Bond will take care of it.
Oh, I thank you, Mr. Brickner. This is a contract for the radiologist to be the medical director for imaging. JHMI also does this for Kenner and St. John's, very familiar with this process.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve JHMI as medical director. Sure.
Thank you, Jameson. We have a motion on the table. Approval of this contract.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kenda. We have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions or concerns? And I'll ask for a vote. All in favor of the motion on the table to approve this, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the line of credit, and there are several documentation pieces that go along with this. First would be the resolution, the formal resolution. This is the big one. Very important, very timely. And it is being labeled as, we're going to do this backwards because this will actually, it's not been numbered. Our bond attorney left it open-ended, but given the sequence of the resolutions tonight, this will become resolution number 13-2025 for whomever would like to make motion at the time that we open the floor for that. So does anyone have any questions about this document or any concerns? This is the formal adopting of the loan terms, basically, I guess is the way to state that.
So as you mentioned earlier, it has to be paid by the end of the fiscal year in full, right?
Yep.
And interest rate, I assume, is variable based on current rates. Any other big things?
Big matches.
All of the legalese, if any of us,
No, I think we've made it through those programs, and that's where there were some very specific points on the allowed amount and working with our bonds and those pieces. I think for the benefit of the public, I'll point out that the reason we just moved all of our bank accounts to Bank of Jackson Hole, it's a requirement of the loan document. And so that is what's causing us to take that last action that you just did. It's because they're giving us the line of credit. And that's really where their benefit comes from.
I'd also like to take the opportunity to mention what a heavy lift this has been on the parts of so many. Greg's done a phenomenal job. Lena's been instrumental. Our bond counsel, Rick Thompson, has been absolutely a rock star in trying to make sure that this went through and, pushing and advocating for us. So I'm very grateful, and I just want to say publicly, I'm very, very grateful for Bank of Jackson to throwing us this lifeline and allowing us to be able to move forward through some times that are difficult at best. So I just want to thank them publicly and, make a note of that. So.
And Rick and Lena have reviewed everything
very, very, very thoroughly and very carefully. But yes, and there's been counsel on the part of the bank who has reviewed it independently as well. So it's been reviewed and reviewed and reviewed. And USDA has signed off on it as well. So.
Way more attorneys than we should ever have to have involved.
So that being said, we just have some normal documents and get off to them as quickly as possible so that things will fall into place. We have primarily the approval, the resolution approving the loan. We have signers documentation and
do you have to approve all of these three separately, or is this one? Is this one resolution all encompassing?
I want to make sure that everything. I'm not seeing I think we just need to approve the resolution and the signers. But I'm not, did we miss the signers documentation? Just realized I'm not seeing it in Word docs. Is that one that got lost in the shuffle? And
Wouldn't be a shocker.
okay, I'm just opening all of these and making sure that.
Yeah, the last three you sent me is what's on there. I thought that I have it printed.
I'll just send it to everyone. It's all there. In Jan's defense, we have received about 3 versions of this from Rick in the last 24 hours. So we were throwing all sorts of documents to ring.
Madam Chair, do you have those available, or would you like me to send those to everyone?
If you have them at your fingertips, can you send them to the board? I'm just trying to find
Absolutely.
Revolving line of credit note, that signature page.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
that one.
Hmm.
Let me double check.
Yes. Printed it, just didn't attach it, I guess.
We have, no, it's not the revolving note, it's
No.
it's the certificate designating signers. Yeah, that's the one. Did you find it, Lena?
I did. I'm sending it right now.
Thank you. I have so many emails from Rick and Laura today, I can't find the right one. Thank you. Am I correct in understanding that those two are the ones that we need formal approval from? The rest just need signatures?
Correct.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so you've got the revolving credit and security agreement, as well as the revolving note.
Yes. And the resolution.
And the
We've got those.
resolution.
We
Yep.
just didn't have the certificate designating signers.
Right, there's a general certificate and then there is the certificate designation. So those all should be coming your way.
Thank you. Is that clear?
Not really.
We have multiple documents. A lot of them are just for review and signing. We need a formal approval of the resolution, and which will be 13-2025. And we need a formal approval of the signers that Lena should have just sent you. So here it is, a commission. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. All right, can't figure it out. So, questions from anyone at this point? Anything you need further clarity on? It's written out for you. It is at the top of page 3. I believe that is the language we need to use, correct, Lena?
That's correct.
Very precise.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Taylor?
on one of these documents, it is on the closing index on document number 2. It says basic documents that the bylaws were from 2021 for us. Do those need to be updated for the ones that we adopted earlier this year?
That is a good question. Lena, I'm assuming our updated bylaws were provided to Rick. That's probably just an error in.
Madam Chair, the updated were provided, but it was at the time. I think that we took out the loan with the USDA, and that's why he included these particular bylaws.
Oh, okay.
But I'm happy to double check that with him tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Lena.
Motions just. Oh, it's not. I think yours is not. Yours is open all the way. Here. Do you want me? Motion. Sorry, nope, you're good. Okay. It is, this part right up here. Needs to read basically.
To approve the resolution authorizing the insurance, that whole thing.
Yes, okay. And with the number.
And that's 1325. Okay. I will move to approve resolution number 13-2025, authorizing the issuance by Sublette County Hospital District of a revolving line of credit promissory note in the principal amount of $10 million for the purpose of financing operations in the district, approving the execution of a revolving credit and security agreement between the district and the Bank of Jackson Hole, a division of NBH Bank as lender, and other details related thereto.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table. David.
Cheryl, second.
Ashley, we have a motion on the second. Are there any other points of discussion on the board? If that is a no, and I'll ask for a vote at this time then. All in favor of the resolution on the table, or the motion on the table for resolution number 13-2025 regarding issuance of line of credit, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. It's a big moment. It's a big moment. Small wins, right? Small wins. Okay, so we set this up with signers on the account as board members and Greg, and also the people who can make a request for a draw. Well, it can be initiated by Greg, has to be signed off by 2 board members. So that is how this is all set up, but we just have to approve the certificate of signers as well.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to approve the certificate designating authorized representatives of the district for their revolving line.
Thank you, Ashley. The motion.
Madam Chair, I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. We have a motion and a second to approve the certificate designated as authorized signers. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Big stuff behind us. On that note, the next action item is a draw request, an immediate draw request that will take place as soon as we get this paperwork submitted tonight or very first thing tomorrow morning. So you have been provided with a draw request.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Greg.
I would clarify that the funding won't take place until July 1st because the line of credit can't cross the fiscal year.
Thank you for that clarification. And the account will be funded before that's a request taking place as well.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the resolution to authorize a draw request on the line of credit, Bank of Jackson Hole, resolution number 12-2025.
Thank you, Kendra.
Do I need to say your
No, so do we need the amount in there for legal purposes?
In the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve that resolution number 12-2025 regarding a draw request against the line of credit. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions, concerns from the board? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, do we don't need approval of the form of borrowing notice, right? That's all falls under the draw request. Okay, that puts us to the next item on the agenda, which is skilled nursing facility dietitian contract. You have been provided contract for Doreen Ward. And would one of you like to speak?
Mr. Riddler, on behalf of Don Walker. So this is for Doreen Ward. This is specific to, of course, the Heritage Home side. And she has already been working with Sublette Center and understands the processes, and this is most familiar with us to just keep this going. She is not, she's interested in just staying with the long-term care side. And so at our next board meeting, you'll see a contract for a hospital dietitian. And that person will work closely with Holly and Vicki Marshall and represent the inpatient side. So we're still working on that. We did find someone who's pretty excellent, and we're just tying up loose ends, but this one is just for Doreen Ward.
Okay. And is it my understanding that we have to have two separate during the PPS period?
No, I could find someone who could do both. Doreen was offered that, but she is nearing the horizon date of her retirement, and so was had some trepidation on taking both on. And since we're all new to it as well, we said that's okay. Dietitians are very hard to find, by the way. But we did find someone that we're just closing in on, and hopefully have something in the next week for the hospital side. But it is something unique that they do have to check in every single day within the systems. And then for PPS, they need to be here 8 hours a week on site every other week. And that requirement dissolved with the cost status.
Okay, that's what I was mistaken on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bergman.
We have in front of us a contract for consideration for registered dietitian Doreen Ward.
Chair, I would make a motion to approve the Ward dietitian services contract.
Thank you, Ashley. We have a motion on the table. Awesome. Canada. Any further concern or questions? For a vote, all in favor of the motion on the table to approve the Ward contract for dietary services, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is primary care pharmacy system. Several documents that go along with that, so I'll turn the time over to Greg or Lindsay and Susie. I'm not sure.
I would like to think because I have the expert behind me, if you don't mind. So, thank you, Mr. Bergman. Susie, what's up, US1?
So in order for us to take care of the medications for the Living Center, we have to have a software system that will allow us to bill, like I said earlier, their nursing home residents are actually outpatient prescriptions, so that's why we have the retail license. But we need a way to send those scripts to the insurance companies to bill them. I looked at several, and this one I have used before, and they came in at the best price, and they have all the things that we need to make this function correctly. So this is the one that we kind of narrowed it down to. It will also allow us to do initially some outpatient prescriptions for other situations, like if we want to start a meds to beds program where patients, when they're getting discharged, the doctor writes orders, they would like them to get them filled before they even leave the hospital. We could do that. Now, we can't do like a full-blown retail pharmacy yet because we'd have to have another space, but we could expand this program to do the retail at some point in the future. So it's kind of a starting point, but it has room to grow. And currently, Sublette Center is using OmniCare. So that, I don't know what their fees are for that. If they pay, I'm sure they pay a monthly fee. I didn't have a chance to ask Dawn what that was, but when we take over providing medications for the residents, then Omnicare we wouldn't do both. So the money would be saved on that end and put towards QS1.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the information.
So this QS1 is just for the retail / long-term care
Correct.
side.
Right, because we're using Epic, Ocean Epic for the inpatient side.
Okay.
And I did reach out to them to see if we could just expand that and add that, our nursing home to that product. And it was very expensive and kind of complicated, and they don't do as much long-term care, so it didn't function as well. It didn't have as many options. So although that kind of would have been nice to have just one system, it really, in the long run, it just didn't seem like the best decision.
So does this switch over like when the residents actually move up? Will you start implementing it before?
We'll have to figure all that out. It depends on how long it takes QF1. It takes them 30 to 60 days to get something implemented. They said they can try to do it as quickly as possible for us if we make a decision and decide that we are going to go with them. But the other thing we have to take into consideration is our contract with Omnicare. I don't know what our requirement is to give them notice. So we have to figure that out and make sure that we're giving the appropriate notice to them and then getting all the QS1 software set up and ready to go, and then switch over.
We were given 2 separate proposals with 2 different dates.
I saw that.
They're not different, are they? I couldn't.
No, and you might be able to help me with that. I saw something, we just had to change a couple things. I don't know what both were in there. But what was the changes earlier?
The changes to the prime care pharmacy system proposal?
Yeah, the QS1.
The changes were the governing law. Oh, Susie, what were the other things? I don't know. I was just impressed that Susie got him to make all the changes.
It was a decrease. They wanted a 90-day cancellation period. We asked them to decrease it to 60. And then we wanted them to get rid of a provision that gave the jury trial, right? And
yeah, they wanted us to waive jury trial. Yep.
Yeah, and then they had something in there about well, we did initially the quote came in at 25 something, and I had them take out some things that we didn't need. They had a bunch of extra printers and all this other, and then they also had an interface with Epic in there, and I was like, we don't need that. So it ended up coming down to 19,775 was the final. So those were the changes that.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. And the confusing part is the dated 6/16 one, the earlier one says revised, but the one dated to yesterday does not say revised. So I was not sure. But I think they both have the same amount that you just.
Madam Chair, if you're okay with it, I'd like an opportunity just to compare to make sure we have the correct version to you. And if you just want to make a motion to approve or not approve, whichever the board sees fit, and then I can get you the correct copy for signature.
We can make a motion contingent on your provision of the proper form. Maybe that works.
That works great. I just want to make sure we're signing the correct copy.
Yes, as do I.
I do. I'm sure it's the right copy that's in board docs. I think what happened is I had 2 documents before. I had this original agreement, and then I had a proposal as a separate document. Now this one I added today has everything all in one document. It was all one. See what I'm saying? The second page is actually the proposal on the document I sent today. So if you open up that one, And I must have forgot to take the proposal off that was, because it just got changed out to me.
I think they're both the same. They're just dated differently, and one says they both look like the exact same agreement.
Is this proposal dated 6/24/2025 that's on there?
One of them is, and then there's one that's dated says 15.
Okay, I just must have forgot to delete it. Yeah,
That's okay.
but if the 6/24 is on there, that's the correct one. That's the one I just printed.
Any questions for Susie, the board, about this contract?
I already have mine.
Caleb, do you have any questions about this contract for Susie?
No, ma'am.
Is someone willing to make a motion in some way to address or consider this?
Madam Chair, may I also just address one thing? So just to make sure, the changes that were requested have been captured in the first amendment to the master license sales and subscription agreement. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
Okay, and that's in our documentation as well.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes, it's the last 2 pages.
I just lost it. Okay. Someone like to make a motion, or do we have further questions we need to address?
We'll make a motion to approve the prime care pharmacy system proposal. Pending, I guess, final legal review.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. We have a motion on the table.
A second.
And a motion and a second. Any last minute questions from the board? Okay, all in favor of the motion on the table to approve the prime care pharmacy proposal, pending review and final documentation, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Thanks, ladies, for your work on that. All right, next item on the agenda is provider privileging forms that were referenced earlier by Dr. Burnett. We've been provided with one for advanced practice providers and one for physicians, if I remember correctly. Do you want to speak to these at all? For our consideration?
Which now,
The privileging forms?
no, I think they're pretty much self-explanatory. I'll always say is what I've said before. There was an intense amount of work that went into that. Appreciate Sherry's help from HealthTech, from Mrs. St. Charles help specifically with Dr. Hasty. So it's been very thoroughly vetted, thought through, and approved by both the Payroll Committee and the
Okay, thank you. Do we need to approve these separately, Lena, for legal reasons, or can we approve them both at once? Do we need separate motions?
Nope, you can combine the two. You can
Okay.
combine the two, that'd be fine.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the medical staff privilege request forms for both the advanced practice professionals and physicians.
Thank you, Kenneth. Motion on the table for approval of the provider privileging forms. I'll second.
Madam Chair.
Second, say Harry Ashley. Okay, are there any further questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion on the table to approve the provider privileging forms in both formats, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, last item under new business tonight, no, second to last item, sorry, is Town of Pinedale grant support letter. This was presented to me about a week ago from the town of Pinedale in conjunction with a steering committee that they've had trying to build a master transportation plan. I've sat in on those meetings once or twice. They're very in-depth and don't relate directly to us, though they do relate indirectly as far as traffic patterns. They are applying for a grant, and actually today was the deadline. I didn't realize it until this afternoon, but they have asked for a letter of support from our board in applying for the grant. So I just wanted to bring that to this board and get your approval to move forward with support or not. So, and Jan has provided both the letter and the grant request.
So we just, this letter would just be redrafted and sent on behalf of the district.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's helpful to our community and this organization, really indirectly, like you said.
Yeah, they're definitely looking at changing traffic patterns and, you know, the flow through town, and so that definitely will have an effect on us, so. Would you like to put that in the?
Yes, I would make a motion that we draft a letter of support to the town of Pinedale for their grant support for safe streets and roads for all.
Ashley, a motion on the table.
I'll second. Madam Chair, I'll second.
Thank you, Kendra. Thank you, Taylor. We have a second and a third. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Last item on the new business tonight is FOIA requests, of which we have none, to my knowledge. And so that puts us at the end of the business content of our meeting. And would now ask for a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of personnel contracts and legal advice. Thank you, Jameson. A motion on the table. Second. Thank you, Ashley. We have a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of personnel contracts and legal. And a second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. Thanks all. You got here right in time.
Yeah, because just in time to be kicked off, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Chocolate. Chocolate.
Thank you, Sharon.